So, what should you do if you think AI is going to change the world? Like, actually, practically, what should you do today? There's obviously a lot of talk and hullabaloo about, oh my God, AI is changing the world, things are completely different, it's the 1996 of the internet, it's never too late, now's the time to hop on the bandwagon, and it's just like, it can be a lot. What are you and I supposed to do about that? This video isn't purely just my opinion, but it's an amalgamation of both my opinion, my lived experience, and the research that I've done across the board from many other industry experts. Hi, if you have no idea who I am, that's totally fine. My name's Catherine. I'll give you some quick credentials. I studied STS at Stanford University. I advise companies on their AI strategies. I give corporate workshops about AI enablement and empowerment. And I even help some AI companies on their go-to-market strategies and general messaging and marketing. Okay, cool. Back to the video. So here's what I'm absolutely not going to say. I am not going to say, if you're in marketing, then you should look into Canva AI. And if you're in sales, then you should look at AI. You know, like that's not the purpose of this video. If you want to know what AI tools are relevant to your field, Google it. I'm breaking down these categories by what I actually think makes sense and how people tend to think about their careers. It's not going to be by function. It's not going to be by industry. It's going to be by the following. Number one, if you love your job. Number two, if you're an entrepreneur. And number three, if you want to pivot. The first bucket is if you love your job, if you like what you get to do every day, if most of your day looking productive means you in this position sitting behind a computer, there is a very high likelihood that the work that you are used to doing will be changed radically by AI if it hasn't already. You have an opportunity to be at the bleeding edge of whatever that change looks like. Become a freaking weapon at whatever it is that you do by learning how to leverage AI in that job. Ask yourself, are you using ChatGPT 10 to 15 to 20 times per day? You don't have to use ChatGPT, pick whatever model you want, but my point is, are you using AI multiple times a day? Are you finding yourself during the day doing tasks where you're sitting there going like, God, I can't believe I have to keep copying and pasting this? Okay, if you are, you're probably missing something. If you're sitting there drudging up and writing lines and lines and lines of copy that aren't actually requiring deeper parts of your brain to like be truly imaginative and invigorating and like connecting disparate ideas across the spectrum, probably should be automating that with AI. My advice here also, like, probably quite notably differs from what I think a lot of other people are saying right now, which is like, okay, if you're in certain industries and certain roles, your job isn't going to exist, therefore you should leave, right? Like I've heard this a lot about, you know, copywriting, for example, is like a pretty obvious one. Look, is the world gonna need less copywriters in 2023 compared to 2020? Yeah. But again, the role of copywriting, I believe, will naturally evolve into something new as the world reveals to us what the new version of copywriting is that it needs. You don't need to sit there and do the freaking mental gymnastics and like future tarot card reading stuff to figure out what exactly copywriting 7 years from now is gonna look like. I feel like this is insane to have to state as a fact, but as a reminder, nobody actually knows what's going to happen, right? We're all just making educated guesses. You're much better off using that time and energy towards just getting as good as possible right now in doing the job you currently have and pushing it to its limit. Here's one more thing I want to add here. You really want to make sure that you are putting yourself in an environment where you can grow in your learning. Some companies are really encouraging of experimentation, learning, trying new tools, and other companies just aren't. And here's one more thing I'd add to this. I would argue that it's not just enough to be in a company that encourages you to experiment and is like, hey, good job, we see you did that AI project, awesome. You want more than that. You want to be surrounded by other people who are also experimenting. People who are sharing their ideas, chatting at the water cooler about what cool AI application they found or how they're using it in their jobs and day-to-day life. You may have a hard crossroads to face if you like the company that you're at, but you don't feel like you're able to grow in that way. If AI is important to you and being on the cutting edge is important to you, you might want to reconsider switching where you work. Okay, so for the next category, if you feel in your heart that you are an entrepreneur, if you've always wanted to start a business, my God, now is the time to do it. Here's the reason why. The cost of expertise has always been high. Now, it is shrinking practically to zero. You have a literal Swiss Army knife co-founder in your pocket that can help you literally block and tackle every single challenge that comes your way. Let's talk about who counts as an entrepreneur. You do not need to be a computer science major, software engineer, AI, CS tech bro to take advantage of the AI wave as an entrepreneur. I'm gonna share a personal case study real quick with you to illustrate this point. So I, in the summer of 2023, started a beach volleyball league. Now this league has nothing to do with technology. It's literally a group of people who meet on the beach and play volleyball together. The volleyball league, like many in-person services businesses, has an online website with a registration flow and a payment flow. One of the earliest challenges that I ran into when I was scaling up this volleyball league was how I was gonna deal with these hundreds of web forms getting filled out and turning them into emails to go out to people being like, hey, you're in, welcome to the league. So all this logic told me, okay, I can probably write a script for this and like kind of automate it in some way, but I haven't written code since like a sophomore year coding class in university, which is longer ago than I would like to admit. So I need to figure something else out. I went straight to ChatGPT and I was able to actually write scripts, real code, that I was able to put into my workflow and automate this entire part of my business. It saved me hours of time. It saved me from having to hire an engineer to do that work for me. And I learned so much in the process. If I could go back in time, I wish someone would have told me at a younger age, being an entrepreneur does not necessarily mean that you have to be a B2B SaaS founder. There's so many other businesses you could build, and AI makes almost every single one of them easier to establish and scale. Previously, a single side hustle might have required hours and hours and hours of your time every single week just to get to the earliest stages. Now, with AI and with the cost of expertise going to zero, like I keep saying, you could be able to start the same side hustle in a fraction of the time using these tools. And if you're starting something new, look for opportunities that are there that weren't before because of AI. If you're gonna start a YouTube channel, maybe make one about AI like I did. If you're gonna start a tech startup, it should probably have something to do with AI as well. You're an entrepreneur, look for the white space that just opened up because this technology exists. Option number 3 is where you wanna pivot. Okay, so let's say you've always wanted to become a UX designer. Holy freaking cannoli! Do it now. Now is the time. Whether it's data analysis, UI, UX design, whatever thing you've kind of always been curious about, now is a great time to explore that. But here's the tip. Don't just become a UI, UX designer. Become a UI, UX designer who knows how to use AI. You might be watching this video and thinking, I want to pivot, but not like pivot into a different type of work that I do, like UX design or data analysis, but simply that you just want to pivot into tech. Like you realize that AI is the future and you want to get involved, but you're not an engineer or you don't have a historical resume that looks very techy. What to do then? So I talk to people all the time who want to work in the AI space, and I ask them, great, what have you done with AI? And usually I'll get a response that's something like, oh, I use ChatGPT at least 20 times a day. And I'm like, okay, that's nice, but I have no idea what you're putting into ChatGPT, and I don't know if you're actually learning and getting better at it, nor if you understand the kind of more general practical applications of what makes these kinds of tools valuable. So if you are currently employed or you're in school, come up with a project where you get to tinker with AI in a real world way, not just like in the confines of your own personal ChatGPT account. For a side project, for a side team that you think is interesting, for a club, for an extracurricular, whatever, just come up with something, literally make something up to just have an excuse to start working with AI tools and then actually create something and add some value to an organization. If you're not currently in an environment like that, start talking about it online. Like you need to create some kind of footprint to prove that you're thinking and what you're thinking about. This could be as simple as a blog post on Medium. Come up with some kind of way to showcase the work that you're doing and then talk about it a lot in your interviews and on your resume. And then do not be afraid to apply to jobs at AI companies. So to summarize, if you believe that the AI future is upon us and you don't want to fall behind and you want to be at the bleeding edge, if you love what you do, keep doing it and use AI to become the best in your field. If you're an entrepreneur, start the thing you've always wanted to start and use AI to close all the expertise gaps that you may have. If you want to pivot, take advantage of the fact that pivoting has never been easier because you can get way ahead of the competition just by knowing how to use AI in the thing that you're interested in. And that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. You can expect more videos about AI, technology, its impact on our society, and probably more stuff just from me and my life because I don't want to get stuck in this niche. Although I love tech, I think it's great. But there's more to life, a lot more. Most of it actually has nothing to do with tech.